Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing another topic that is city creation. City creation basically we are discussing another topic that is India account. In India account basically we are discussing SBI account, Amazon account, and after 2 days basically the big earthquake basically is going to come to India. So that is the topic basically which is on me. So one of the person told that from education basically we got that basically. For example, one person told that just now basically the earthquake basically came there. That was basically of MBA. There was no answer basically with India basically. Why? Because India has not reached up to this level basically. But that was given by satellite group basically. But in Earth land basically there was no answer basically. Satellite group total basically this earthquake basically came from the MBA side basically. And this earthquake was connecting how basically? Do you know basically? Cities to cities, states to states, countries to countries. How basically that I will explain. Assume that basically MBA to create MBA books. Assume that basically in India MBA basically. MBA means we will not take particular college basically. We will take MBA as a global. So assume that basically in MBA there are around 31 books. Or we assume that basically 35 books. 35 books basically took to create 35 books, it took hundreds country basically to create. In other simple language basically you can say to generate this 35 books ideas basically it has taken 100 countries. So from 100 countries basically vice versa, from 100 countries basically 35 books ideas basically was created. How basically that is, that basically we have already discussed. If one person basically is reading the book, he is going to get the ideas from that 100 countries. So like same way basically the entire mapping is also done like that only basically. So the earthquake, that's why basically assume that basically the 100 country basically are having 1000 areas basically. Assume that basically in 10 country basically 100 areas are there, another country basically another area, like this basically 1000 areas are divided. So the earthquake chain connected like this only, cities to cities, states to states, countries to countries. So India country, MBA is a degree of India property. So MBA properties of India. So in India basically they told that basically, for example, one person basically, if assume that basically 1 crore MBA people basically are there. So all are basically not going to stay in India only. They will shift to USA, they will shift to UK, they will shift to Ireland, they will shift to Italy, they will shift to this, that basically each and every place basically we will shift. They shifted 20 lakh here, 5 lakh here, 6 lakh here, 7 lakh here. So power supply company basically will pass the data of India data of that is basically the India MBA ideas. That is basically in the local areas basically. Assume that basically in other country basically the MBA physical locations are not created. MBA physical locations, MBA ideas giving physical location are not created. So they told that basically we are passing the power companies data, that is in the ideas basically. Ideas means you can say the mind is supposed to know that basically what you are reading basically. So they told that basically we are passing the power companies their data from the on the base of power company, but they will, their brain basically is not going to take fast basically. The person basically is reading 100 times now basically, he will read 1000 times. Why? Power company basically can't uh, power company is telling that basically we are passing data from India to USA, and if anything basically if any object is not existing in the USA basically, it's going to take more time to take the data into brain basically. So they told that basically we will do one thing, we will create some um data to USA also, that is the few buildings, that is the few areas, that is the 100 area basically you can say, to USA also. So now basically in USA around 20 lakh people basically MBA are there. They are basically telling that basically yeah basically now we are able to read 100 times instead of 1000 times. Now basically we are able to capture that data. Capture that data means we are able to understand what actually that MBA group basically want to say basically. That is books basically. And books, after books basically you go to the profession side basically. That is the job side basically. And that also basically we have discussed lots of things basically in the video basically. So one of the person told that like this the earthquake chain got generated basically. Earthquake chain got generated. And one assume that basically 20 lakh people basically has 20 lakh people basically are of MBA. They are basically in America. So each people basically thinking basically might not be same basically, right? That is 100% sure. But the base is what basically? The base is book. All has created, sorry, all has read that same book. So here the main thing is that they have read that same book basically. That is the main thing basically, and that basically is the base. So many less people basically can connect up to base basically. Connect up to base means they can overtake the base basically. Overtake the base means they can create few more base. That basically very less people can do. But when the person basically will going to create or basically going to connect to that idea basically, that is a new base, then basically the earthquake is going to come. That is 100% sure basically. Instead of one person told that, instead of basically that, if the MBA group basically, that is the colleges basically, track their students basically what they are doing and up to what level the ideas basically has reached, up to what level studies basically are, up to the according to the study basically they are basically doing the job, and in job basically what they are doing. If they will connect that basically, then it would connect to earthquake basically. Then one person told that that will connect to the personal basically. You can't basically interfere in any of the personal life basically, because it's legally basically it's not good basically to interfere in anybody's personal life. For example, I am basically creating this video, and if somebody is basically watching my video, what actually I am creating, so that connects to personal basically. And in the assume that basically the laptop groups are also basically supporting that group, then that connects to more personal basically. So personal life basically gets finished basically. That comes to that basically Sunil R. Nair basically it's a big criminal basically. So that was negative side basically. Another side is basically if Sunil R. Nair basically is doing some anything in laptop or basically in computer, that is affecting lots of things basically. So these possibilities are there na basically. So same way basically the 20 lakh people basically who are the MBA people basically in America basically, their personal life basically you can't interfere, you basically can't enter in their personal life basically. So that basically lots of people says that, assume that basically from 20 lakh basically one or two people basically connected to the base of the creation, that is the base of the MBA. So here basically the earthquake is going to connect. Why? Because the base of the creation basically they connected, and the company also implemented that ideas. Due to that idea basically the power company sent that data. Assume that basically there's two three people basically from Gulf country, or basically they are from Italy basically, or basically they are from Germany. In Germany, basically, Indian MBA, basically, people don't work basically. Then also, basically, I am taking as an example. So that data, basically, whenever it's going to connect to India or basically that thousand areas or basically that 100 countries, that time earthquake is going to come basically. So like this only the earthquakes are coming na basically. The earthquakes basically are coming. 35 percentage earthquake reasons are education basically. And this is actually error basically. One of the reason is this basically. That is the cracking the base basically. That means the people who created the MBA basically they were not able to create up to that level. Why? Because their thinking basically was up to that level. Up to that level means their thinking basically was connected to certain area. That was basically the thousand building, thousand areas. That is the hundred countries basically, right? So that was basically the thinking power basically, and they got that much power only basically. You can think up to this level only basically. But after a certain time, basically the modification happened to that 100 countries. Due to that, basically that person basically thought little bit higher level. In that basically higher level, the base got affected. So base of the MBA got affected, and few more base basically got added. But that is basically not in the physical area basically. That added into the companies basically, and the companies basically has company actually implemented his ideas and views into company's task basically, whatever task basically they are doing, projects they are doing. In that project basically they got some big success basically, which was actually some extraordinary basically. You can say top 10 success basically of you can say of the management side basically, the business side basically. Due to that basically they told that basically this was something basically great, and that connected to power company, and power company sent that data also basically. Due to that basically the earthquake happened, and in auditing of the earthquake basically what was basically it was written that that person of that one student basically of your MPA, that is two one or two student basically, they basically got some new ideas basically. In that idea basically your base book basic, sorry, your base study basically, that is the your book basically, that is around 35 books basically, that got affected. In that basically something new basically idea got added. Due to that basically the company basically got some extraordinary profit basically, which actually uh, uh, company basically got some extraordinary profit. That basically extraordinary profit basically which was not getting in that 35 books and that 100 country basically, which is having the ideas of these 35 books. So they told that basically you have to add these ideas into that 35 books also. Before adding the books basically you have to change that 100 countries, that is the 1000 cities areas, and the modification of these ideas basically. So like this basically they done the changes, and then basically the after after doing the changes basically the MBA books was implemented. So one of the person told that each and every books in this world basically, that is the certification which is created for that physical area exist. So first physical area gets creates, then basically the books get creates. So one of the person told that, and this is very dangerous topic actually. One person told that how many books basically are available in the here basically I'm taking only example of India basically, because currently I'm in India. If I would be in Singapore, then I would be taking the example of Singapore. So assume that basically in India there are around 2 lakh books basically, which are unique books basically. Unique books means, for example, economics basically have 1000 lakhs of books basically. So one economics books basically I'm talking like this basically 2 to 3 lakh books basically are available. economics, BA, master degree, ME degree, BTech degree, like this basically 2 to 3 lakh books basically are available. That 2 to 3 lakh books basically is connected with some physical location, na, basically. That is connected with physical location. That is connected with physical location. So assume that basically we will take one dangerous example. This is connecting to the client server relationship management basically. In computer basically there is one relationship management that is basically called as a client and server relationship. First we will take this basically. What is client server relationship? Because everything basically whatever are done in the software industry now basically that connects to our bodies, that is connecting to our bodies basically. You will not believe this basically. Whatever you think now basically that is already done in the computer basically. I will take one example, then you will basically able to understand easily. Client server relationship basically everybody knows. There are basically hundreds, there are basically lakhs of clients basically, but server are few basically. That is assume that basically there is only one server. So server is 1 lakh PCs are there, that are the clients. So this is clear basically. So there are basically many nodes or basically many places basically on the base of server basically gets the access of 1 lakh people. So client basically can access the 1 lakh people. So here what are the things basically going to happen? If server basically is not giving response, that means the load basically has increased. The load has increased. Here server is what basically? Server is our human body basically. And client is what basically? Client is basically the near around our body is energies. Hand part basically contains many energies near around basically. You can see basically near around. So here basically I'm not talking about what actually somebody has set it in our head, what basically somebody has set it in our eye. That basically we are not discussing. That is very dangerous topic basically. It connects to very high level basically. That connects to nuclear power company basically because they have designed this. They have designed human basically. They have designed the human power basically. They have designed the human thinking basically. They have designed the human ways of living style basically. They have designed basically according to the energies basically near around. So here basically what is that? Client server relationship connected like this basically. Now basically server basically got down basically, right? According to the our body basically previously our body was like this only basically. Multiple energies was there, and according to the energies basically our brain was connecting, body was connecting. We basically do certain level of for example, um, one person basically is a software delivery head, and he basically can work up to how many basically time? 10 hours, maximum 8 to 9 hours basically, not more than that basically he can't work. Why? Because his body will not support, because he have to think up to very dangerous level basically. His management basically has to be up to that level, so he can't basically think up to that. Why? Because client server relationship basically was there, and that was basically the older technology. According to that older technology our body was like that. Just see the connection, see basically. Now basically the Amazon group basically, here basically I believe that basically Amazon and Elon Musk basically, that basically I'm not taking supposed to name, say the name, because he is just in front of the world basically. Assume that basically somebody group basically who created the chip basically which is connecting to our bodies. So Amazon basically what he has done basically. Amazon basically has done basically what? He created many servers basically. AWS basically you can say, that is the Amazon website basically. He basically studied the India. Here basically I'm in India, so I'm taking the example of India. If I would be in Singapore, then I would be taking the example of Singapore. So assume that basically there are basically in India basically there are 100 crore customers of Amazon. So 100 crore customer are not going to connect at a time basically. That is not possible basically. That is impossible basically. So he actually done the study that basically at this time basically, for example at 1 a.m. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. basically, lots of people basically gets connect. So he basically what he has done, whenever this time basically happens, he connects that much area of computers data to certain level of computers basically. That is the previously he was allocating only 5 to 7 servers, then basically started allocating 50 servers, 70 servers, 80 servers, 90 servers. Why? Because the client load was getting increased at this time basically. And that time basically he thought that basically I should connect like this. So he basically created many servers and active like this basically he done the chaining system basically. So his problem also basically was solved. Client server relationship also basically previously what basically the people were doing, they were purchasing server. Each company basically was purchasing server. Like this basically cost of company basically was getting increased. So here Amazon thought that basically I will sort out that problem basically. So he created many servers and he was giving services basically to the companies, and they told that basically you can deploy your applications or basically services or softwares or basically the applications or or services or procedures whatever basically in our server, and you basically you are basically paying the amount now basically whenever you are purchasing the server, that time basically you are paying the amount now basically, that time give something amount basically that is a monthly rent to me basically, and I will pay you the exact same service which the server was basically giving to you. So he started doing like that basically. So now basically what happened? Now basically what happened? Multiple clients are there, servers also multiple basically are there. So that is called as a multiprocessor. Not multiprocessor basically, you can say multiprocessor also you can say, because here at this particular time the more clients are there and the more servers are allocated. That basically happens automatically. So like this basically started his business basically. So here actually we are talking about earthquake, then basically we connected to this because it's connecting everything basically is connected. That's why basically. Even Amazon basically might not have thought this basically, that his concept basically is connecting up to this level basically. His concept basically is of Amazon basically is connecting up to this level basically. So he told that like this basically created. Same way our body is also basically reacting same as client and server relationship. Now basically whenever person basically is software delivery head basically, whenever he is working basically for 12 hours, 10 hours, he can able to work. Why? Because his body basically is telling that basically yes basically I can work. So what is that basically? How basically he is working basically now? Previously he was not able to work that time basically. That time basically he was not able to work up to that many hours. So what was that basically? Something basically happened to our brain or basically our hand basically or basically our leg or basically our brain basically, or what actually the changes happened here basically suddenly. Exactly the AWS thing basically or basically the Amazon thing basically whatever he was doing basically, exactly that connected to our body structure basically. One businessman basically has created the chip also basically, that what human brain is going to think, what he is going to think, up to what level he is going to think, each and everything basically he done as a diagram basically. That means chip equal to what? Blood cells basically. So one person told that entire data na basically, entire thinking data, what the person is going to think basically, that data everything basically has dumped in our body basically. Everything basically. Somebody has dumped that basically. You will not believe this basically. Even basically the Amazon basically will think that basically we never thought this here basically. That everything basically has dumped in our body. Now basically what happened? Everything is dumped in your body according to the thinking basically. The things basically gets activated. So one person told that previously also basically it was not like that basically. That was basically also basically very dangerous question basically. Previously also it was not like that basically. Or basically just now basically somebody has done some changes in the human body basically. That is also very dangerous question basically. Because whatever things basically in technologies things happen basically in this world basically, whether he is connected with computer or basically not connected, but human basically behaviors connects to this entire digital world. So digital world basically has done up to this level changes basically. So few people say that everything basically is dumped in your body and basically everything gets activated. That is also possible because human basically can think more. Previously he was just whatever things basically 25 percentage 30 percentage he was thinking. Now basically he's thinking 70 80 percentage. How this magic happen basically? Because nothing basically happens automatically. Something basically has done basically. Something somebody has done this basically. So what is that basically? Because it's connecting to the doctor industry, medical industry, health industry, every industry basically it's connecting. Even the nuclear power company basically, because they have done this na basically. They have done these changes basically, and they have already done it. So this is basically not basically that they have done some bad thing basically. They have created human basically more faster basically. Human basically can think more faster. Few people told that basically this thing basically is also not working, so we will create robot. That up to that level also people started thinking basically. But robot basically can't think as human basically can think. They basically can do, but human is human basically. So you can just imagine basically how the world is going basically. This thing basically what I told just now, no basically, who can understand this basically? That is also question basically. The thing basically just now I discussed in this video, who can understand this basically? That is also question basically. What actually I told just now basically, because it's very dangerous topic basically I talked just now basically, because it's connecting to the world health. It's connecting to the world health. There are basically 800 crore people. 800 crore people basically equal to earth planet health. That also you can say. So this changes basically which the person basically whoever basically has done, because this changes as he has done basically already done basically. So this is going to affect to our body basically our health, because work basically has increased. Now basically the delivery head, software delivery head, project managers, coders, tester, or basically the directors, CEOs, they basically can work more time basically. Previously it was not like that basically. So one person told that practically how basically that is possible. Practically what he might have done basically, but changes basically has done, that is 100% sure. Amazon's web services, Amazon web services, Amazon servers, that all are the examples basically. So one person told that the digital world basically created first, or basically the human body basically got created according to that, basically the Amazon has created the creation. That is also question, because Amazon is telling that world basically is running on the base of commission. His income basically is one commission basically. So he's telling that basically world basically is getting income basically on the base of commission only. He's describing his company basically. So in that company he described that also, that there are multiple servers, it gets activated at certain level of times when basically it's required. Previously there was multiple servers, sorry, one company basically was having another one server, another company was having another server, third company was having another server, like this basically is described. And he basically solved this problem basically. So one of the percent is the computer industry deciding the human body, or basically the human, according to the human bodies, the technologies basically are ongoing. That basically is a very dangerous question basically. So what is basically, what might be first basically? So that basically connects to very dangerous level actually. What actually connecting to first basically? What is connecting first basically? One of the person told that that question basically, who might able to give basically? Because Amazon is creating, Amazon has created the company basically. His advisor has created na basically. His advisor group basically has told that we will do like this, we will do like that, we will do like that. So their advisor basically are connected with some nuclear power company, or basically what? Or basically the each and every companies which is created in front of the world basically, they are connected with the nuclear power company, or what basically? That nuclear power company is telling that basically we have created human body like this, so according to that basically you change your company's way of working basically. In that basically technology also comes into the picture. That is very dangerous thing basically. The nuclear power company is first doing the changes in our bodies, or basically the nuclear power companies are telling that basically do this everything basically in companies, and then basically execute same thing basically in human body. But that is not possible na basically. Why? Because company in companies basically robot basically are not working, the human basically are working. That is also question. So is it like that basically, that nuclear power company is telling that basically companies, you create your people like this? Is it like that? So here basically the Middle East company group, Middle East companies groups, they are telling that we are creating human like this. That is also possible. Mostly chances is like this only basically. But few people says that basically you can't take the risk basically, because it's very dangerous to enter the human, so to enter energy into the human bodies basically, to enter any energy basically into human body, that is very dangerous. So few people says that the nuclear power company जो है ना, they might be connecting to the human bodies, and then basically the companies are designed like that. So anything basically is possible, we can't predict the thing basically. Lots of people says that world in, I will take one example in politics. In politics basically BJP is created, Congress is created, Aam Aadmi Party is created, Basapa is created, Shiv Sena is created, Manasa is created, then the other parties are created. Like this, all parties are created, all views, thinking, everything is totally different. Then one person told that yes, everything is different, na, basically. So same way, here the human bodies basically gets creates, na, their way of creation are also totally different. Few body basically are created from companies, few bodies are created from nuclear power company, few bodies are created from power companies, few bodies are created from computers, few bodies are created from digital world, few bodies are created from WhatsApp group, because WhatsApp groups are getting used. Few bodies are created from Facebook also. Few bodies are created by job portal also. Few bodies are created by Rediff also. Like this, basically everything is divided around. Basically. So this project basically, just now basically I created one project actually. That is basically coming as a data science project basically. And this project I am telling you basically, it might not be exist, because no, this type of thing basically, even basically the Amazon group and the other group basically might not have thought basically. But mostly basically the people basically who are into the creation of Amazon basically, the advisory of Amazon group basically, they might be knowing this everything basically, that something basically is happening, whatever things basically we are doing, it is affecting to the human bodies, that they might have tracked basically after working since many years in India, and they are basically having business in India also now. So you can just imagine basically. So one of the person told that actually this is actually very dangerous topic that required some uh, high level meeting basically, because how the things are basically created in this high level meeting basically, the few system analysis also basically is required, who basically do the analysis of the projects basically, because this is going to connect to the many projects also. Many means many projects basically, you will not believe it basically. So few people told that basically the people who watched your video after uploading this, they will basically start doing this everything basically. Then they will connect to the new projects basically. So in my video basically, lots of projects basically it has generated. Lots of each project basically is connecting to many projects. Here just now basically I connected to something new project basically, which basically this, there is no system analysis also basically. There is no idea of system analysis. The system analysis people basically what they do, they thinks, for example CRM project, but CRM data basically is available in the environment basically. I have taken one example of CRM project basically, how TCS company has done that, and this and everything basically I have done, but that was available in the environment basically. According to that only basically they have done that. According to that only the CRM project was done basically. But here basically nothing is there basically. So one of the person told that when you basically will watch this video basically, some group basically will immediately will start the creation of project basically, and he will do the copyright also basically, that we have started this project, so don't start the project basically. So few people basically are up to that level, because whatever project basically new projects, new ideas basically you think na basically, that are connected with the copyrights. So the big company only basically can do this basically, copyrights, this right or those rights, because to get the copyright also basically you require 100 crore, 200 crore. Then only basically they give the copyrights. But if you are spending 100 crore, 200 crore, so you should get up to that level amount also basically. So mostly you will not get the amount basically. Just you think na basically. Because this will be the base basically. You are creating the human ideas, your views ideas basically. But that is very dangerous basically. That's why basically the nuclear power company does not give any control to any of the companies basically. You can create the project basically, no issue basically, but you can't take the control of human bodies. You can't you can't basically dump any of the energies into the human bodies, so that basically his health basically gets effect, this that basically, each and everything basically you can't do basically. So lots of people say that basically we actually we basically got something new basically just now basically. something new ideas basically. This is connecting to what? This is connecting to earthquakes only basically, I am telling you. Because the persons are thinking, their views are getting changed, base of the each and every side basically is getting affected, each and everything basically are getting connected, each and every education sectors basically are getting effect. So what are these all things basically? Just now basically I discussed everything that is connecting to directly to earthquake only, na basically. Amazon created his company structure like that. He somebody told that basically create the structure like this. But actually what was that basically? He created his structure like this. Somebody nuclear power company only has told that basically. Or basically is it like that basically that he created first a company structure like that, and according to that basically he created human body structure. That is also possible. And that are all basically are directly connecting to earthquakes. And this is the most dangerous topic basically, which just now basically I discussed. Lots of people says that it might possible, Sunil, that the world basically might have created like this. Companies basically might have created the human ways, thinking this, that, each and everything. Basically. It is possible basically, but everything basically company has created, that you can't basically blame to the company. Why? Because the creation basically one group basically can't create everything, and one group basically is not supposed to create everything basically. That is also 100% correct basically. But then basically one of the person told that this will get conflict basically, ideas getting conflict basically, that is also basically one thing basically. But everything basically you can't create by one group, so companies basically can't do everything basically. Same way basically the all the political party basically in the India basically, all views basically are totally different basically. They can't basically say that what BJP is doing, that basically Congress will do. That is not possible basically. That will not work basically. That will not work. So same way basically one person told that here basically I have taken the example of Amazon basically. In really basically it can be any company basically. I'm not any company basically. Amazon basically has created his digital world like this basically. Amazon has created his digital world basically like this. So he actually created the entire creation like this only. The human body parts, sorry, human way of thinking, this, that, basically each and everything basically he has created. That is also basically one of the question basically. This is actually very dangerous topic basically. Lots of people say that basically the nuclear power company basically can understand this basically. Even the Amazon group basically can understand this now basically. What actually they have done. And this everything is done basically. You can't do now basically anything. So one of the person told that for that basically one person told that basically how basically this can be segregated basically. Lots of people says that blood group is there basically. But that basically World Bank basically know that basically what is actually blood group. So they told that basically way of thinking basically. Few people basically thinks like this. Few people basically think like that way. Few people basically thinks like this. Like this basically assume that basically in this world basically there are 1 lakh types of thinking. 1 lakh types of thinking that connects to statistic basically. And the thinking methodology basically, that also you can say. So one person told that assume that basically Amazon has created these types of thinking human. Capgemini Accenture company basically created this type of thinking human. Reliance told that basically we have created this type of thinking human. Tata groups are telling that we have created these types of thinking human. Patni, IBM, Infosys groups are telling that basically we have created these types of thinking human. Mall groups are basically telling that we have created these types of human, this type of thinking human basically. The small store basically groups are telling that basically we have created these types of human. Small shops basically are basically in the road basically. They are telling that basically we have created these types of human. Few people are telling that basically we have created that type of human. Few people basically like this basically assume that basically there are 1 lakh types of thinking human basically has created. And base was what basically? The places basically. And that place is basically created from where basically? That is created from the nuclear power company only, no, basically. Power company and energy company. They only basically have the authority to access the places basically. And another is basically the governments. Government have the authority to watch what that person basically is doing in the company basically. Up to the cabin level basically they watch nowadays because it's very dangerous basically because they are creating this type of human basically, this type of thinking human that they checks basically that they are doing it basically or not. So you can't believe it basically. The way of thinking the world is already created. So one of the person told that this is good or basically this is bad basically. That is also question basically. That is also question. That is also question, na, basically. Whether the creation basically which has done it is correct or basically it is wrong. That is also very dangerous question basically. Few people told that need to check here basically because we have never checked our world system basically, never. So one person told that the chartered accountant people basically are then doing what basically? The people basically who are into the chartered accountancy, they were supposed to do this everything basically long before. That is also that to create this type of person basically. For example, Amazon created this type of person. So what was the expense basically? From that basically at least they can track now basically because chartered accountant group basically has never created this type of entry in their basically what to say basically in their books basically. This type of entry of data is not there in their book basically. So that they were supposed to create but they have not done. So if they might have created this might have tracked long before basically. But this might have tracked basically. It's not like that basically it might not have tracked because somebody has created na basically. If somebody has created that means tracking is also done basically but that basically is very less people basically might be knowing about this that this type of thing basically has created because this type of thing are very minor level observation basically you can say and this type of world basically is already created. So one of the person told that this is good or basically bad basically. That is also question. That is also question na basically whether it is good or basically this is not good. So one person told that basically need to check basically yeah. And this everything basically So this connects to some new project, and this is connecting to directly to the earthquake. So one person told that to understand this video only basically which type of energy we required. That is also question basically. Because to understand one CRM project, the ideas basically are already with the power company, nuclear power company have this idea that we basically can think CRM project very easily. Why? We basically whenever CRM project basically discussion is ongoing, our brain automatically gets the ideas. How basically that is possible? That basically nothing happens automatically basically. Mark my word basically. Nothing happens automatically. I will take one example, very dangerous example it is. Assume that basically Hero Honda company is there in India. So I'm in India, so I'm taking the example of India only. If I would be in Singapore, I would be taking the example of Singapore. So one person told that, one government person told that basically, that how basically the Honda company is getting handled. He told that basically there are around 5 crore Honda vehicles which is moving in India. So government told that basically you have to pay this much tax amount so that basically your 5 crore vehicle basically will move smoothly. Move smoothly means if you will take the Honda vehicle in some other planet basically, that is not going to start also. Then basically it will run basically. It will not start also. Why? Because to start engine requires certain level of energies. That basically government is doing the setting. Then only basically the vehicle is getting started. Then only the vehicle is basically getting started. You will not believe it basically. You will not believe this basically. So this topic basically just now basically I discussed, that is connecting to this only basically. This example basically can connect to this basically. CRM project and this activation basically. And this everything basically connects to directly the earthquake basically. So one of the person told that this type of data basically the doctors basically might not be having. The brain doctor basically who are into the brain, they might be having basically that they might be having that this type of this type of people basically exist in world according, because brain doctors basically are there basically. If any disease basically comes to that type of people basically, so they might have to be ready for the medicine basically. So they might be having the data basically, that according to this type of people only the medicine has created. That is also one thing basically. That means doctors group basically might be 100% might be having this type of data. 100% they might be having, yeah basically. It's not like that basically it might not be having. They might be having 100%. So one of the person told that this is very dangerous topic here, Sunil, just now basically you discussed. Even basically the Amazon group basically might be watching this video. He might be thinking that basically we actually never thought this basically. But we thought now basically. But that is Amazon basically. They don't have time basically. So here basically we are not discussing basically what Amazon is, what is SBI group, what is the error of SBI group. That basically we are not discussing. We are discussing that world basically have to be saved. How we will save that world? How to save the world basically? That topic is ongoing. In that basically Amazon is doing that, IBM is doing that, That is basically connecting to the business basically. That connects to the business war basically. That is totally different topic basically. That Amazon तो ऐसा कर रहा है business, IBM basically has supposed to do this type of business. That is business war basically. That basically is not here basically. That is basically not the topic here basically. That connects to the business strategies basically. Means he is giving this type of price, so we should give this type of price. If he is giving very less price, then how basically he is giving the less price? That we need to find. Which kind of materials basically he is using. So we also have to connect to that type of materials. Then price will automatically tally to that particular group basically. These are basically techniques of the business basically. And that everything basically are into the MBA books basically. That is the Master in Business Administration basically. This group basically give each and every training basically. Gives the training of people to this type of training basically they gives basically. So one of the person told that here basically we are not discussing the war basically. Here we are discussing to save the world basically. So that is basically 1 lakh types of human thinking basically people basically are there in this world basically. Few people basically say that basically we love romantic life basically. Few people say that basically we don't like romantic life here basically. Few people says that basically we like daily basically we want beer. In Mumbai basically most of people basically that are the 70% people basically they drinks. Why? Because their lifestyle basically are up to that level basically. They have to drink. If they will not drink then basically their body basically gets effect. Why? Because they got habit of that. So each and every person basically behaviors, brains, everything basically structures, everything basically has created. In this basically the companies basically has taken main role. And company basically connects to whom basically? They connects to nuclear power companies. They told that basically we want this type of data so that basically we can do some process basically. And on the basis of certain level of process they want to do something basically. So you can just imagine basically how the creation has created, and this everything basically is ongoing. Nothing is happening, that means it's going fine. Nothing is happening, that means it's going fine basically. So one of the person told that everything basically is going fine basically. The human behaviors has created like that basically. Few people says that basically I basically want at least basically 10 to 15 girlfriends. Otherwise basically nothing basically happens to me. Few people says that basically nahi yaar basically we basically can't afford that much girlfriend. We basically just want one or two basically. Few people says that basically no yaar basically I am basically not interested in girlfriend. I just want to do marriage. That is enough for me basically. So that basically the human bodies basically are created and they are connecting up to this level basically. So one person told that there are basically 1 lakh types of human bodies which are created, right? This has created, na basically it has basically automatically happened basically. Then it doesn't know basically it has created by certain level of groups that are the nuclear power company and power company. They want certain level of data, so they created. So one of the person to each and every companies basically in this world and basically that are controlled by these groups only basically. That are the nuclear power company and energy companies. They are basically handling the entire companies. entire companies. And companies basically are divided. So one of the person told that companies basically uh, gives quality level thinking basically. Like I will take one example. Private limited company, which is not registered company, IOSA level company, then the limited companies, then the CMM level 1 company, 2 company, 4 company, 5 company, 6 Sigma company, and other companies, and lots of companies are there. Na, basically. Their thinking, their standard of living, everything basically is totally different. So according to that only basically their creation happens. Na, basically. According to that only, according to that only basically their creation basically connects. Their creation basically has happened according to that only, na, basically. So one of the person to the group who created the company, na, basically, they also basically might be possible that they might be knowing lots of things basically, and that basically who creates the company. No, basically we are talking about the company base. For example, first private limited company, first limited company in the world basically. Up to that level basically we are going. First CMM level 5 company, first Six Sigma company, first limited company, because they have designed the base. All limited companies rules and regulation basically are same basically. It's not like that basically their rules and regulation are different, his rules and regulation are different. All limited company rules and regulation basically are same. Private limited also basically is same basically. The company is not registered, they have their own rules and regulation. Why? Because they are controlled by set of businessmen, and they are basically working in some certain companies, so they basically handles that these people according to their rules and their company's rules and regulation basically. So you can just imagine basically how the world has created, and this everything basically has created smoothly, and everything basically is going fine also basically, because everything is going fine also. So here basically in this topic basically we discussed what basically that this is also one of the types of earthquake basically. Same way the education basically we have. So what is education level earthquake, nationality level earthquakes, then the minor level education earthquakes, each and every earthquakes types basically we are ongoing basically. In this basically this is also one of the creation, and this is the base of the human creation basically you can say. This is the base of human creation. How basically the Amazon group basically previously, how basically, sorry, Amazon previously was not there, how companies basically was handling their computers, and one company basically was having one server, another company was having another server. So how this basically at that time basically how the human bodies basically was behaving, that company creation basically, the creation basically of the structure of the company basically, that is affecting the human bodies basically, that is connecting to the human bodies. So one person told that, then basically the Amazon group came into the picture. They told that basically we will solve this problem of each and every companies, and we will keep their data in our server, and we will take some nominal charges. Like this basically the another way of creation of companies basically started, and according to that the human working standard also basically got connected. Human body structure, company creation and human body structure also basically got connected up to that level. So that is also very dangerous topic basically, just now basically we discussed just now basically. Just now basically which topic basically we have discussed, that is also very dangerous topic basically you can say. Just now basically we discussed, that is also very dangerous topic basically you can say. So one of the person told that the world basically has created like this, that means human structure basically, each and every structure, each and everything basically is created according to that basically. Few people basically has done experiment up to this level, you will not believe it basically. For example, in ear side basically, which kind of energy is required, for that basically you will not believe, set of companies basically has created that if this kind of energy basically can be kept in ear, this kind of energy basically can be kept in ear basically. So that type of company also basically are there. So one of the person told that when the companies are created, the group who creates the company, they basically uh, know that basically this everything basically, or basically the in the rules and regulation basically of the company and the working standard basically, what the work basically they do, according to that basically the energy gets generates and everything basically happens automatically, because company creator basically don't know about this everything basically. The people who are into the company creation, they don't know they basically don't know that basically their company basically groups energies are going to dump near the ear basically, up to that level because they are not the health group no, basically this type of stuff basically are done by the healthcare department basically and the medical industry basically. They are not supposed to aware about this everything. They are basically aware about which task is supposed to be happen and what are the ways basically, on the way basically they are going to do the particular task. For example, software company is telling that basically we have to do this project. So CM level 5 company says that we basically first create all the documentation, we create project management plan, we create scope level plan, we create basically each and every project specification, UTC, this, that, basically each and everything basically we creates. Then we starts with the project. But the normal company what they do, they basically don't go into the project management plan. They basically directly jumps into the coding side and they basically start doing the coding. Few company basically, they are normal company also, but they handles the development and documentation both part basically. So that basically is what basically each company's, for example, there is one CRM project, one normal company is developing the project, one private limited is developing that CRM project, one limited company is developing that CRM project, one CMM level 5 company is developing the CRM project, CMM level 4 companies developing the CRM project. So they all basically are doing same project basically, but their working culture basically and creation of the project basically are totally different basically. CMM level 5 company basically first they complete the documentation, then basically they do the auditing also basically. Few people says that project gets complete, after that basically everything basically happens. That basically are very few companies basically. Few companies says that basically documentation basically we creates, then basically we give that stuff to the technical team basically, so that basically they can start the projects. So that kind of people basically are also there. So here basically the working culture basically, according to the working, few people says that our body structure basically energies are created by companies and their working cultures. They basically don't know that basically they are creating actually this type of energies basically. I will take one more example. related to earthquake only. Assume that basically 1 crore people, here basically I'm taking the example of that Bangalore thing basically. Here assume that basically Bangalore group basically 1000 building is there that is controlled by that 1 crore people basically who are the properties of Microsoft. Their bodies basically are also connecting like this only. They also have ear. They're also basically near around the energies are there. So 1 crore people basically energies are creating by which companies? That data basically Microsoft might be having na basically because he has selected this 1 crore people basically so that this 1 crore people basically energy can be used in this 1000 buildings stable data in the stable data of these 1000 buildings basically. So he might be knowing this everything na basically that his 1 crore people basically that is the property of his, they are basically getting created like this way so that basically their data basically their energies basically after that basically creation of that 1 crore people's data, that data basically are getting dumped into 1000 buildings. So you can just imagine basically the creation basically up to what level the earthquakes chain basically each and everything basically is connected basically. So one of the person told that this is basically very dangerous thing here basically. This is actually very dangerous thing basically. Just now basically you had talked. So one of the person told that this way also the creation has happened. It's not like that basically this way the creation has not happened. So one of the person told that yes, here basically this way the creation basically has happened basically. Everything is already created. So this was something unique video basically, which is going to connect to Amazon, the person who created the chips, and the government, SBI groups, Amazon groups, and they will think basically 100 times about this video basically. कि सुनील एक्चुअली क्या बोलना चाहता है, what actually Sunil want to say, because this is connecting directly to the earthquakes, and this is also one of the part of earthquakes. So next video basically we are going to see little bit more about this topic.